Okay, we are now streaming live on YouTube.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So if we could do a roll call, Suzanne, please.
Okay. Elise Lipniks.
Here.
Alan Jacobitz.
Here.
Billy Larson is excused. David Haber.
Here.
John Hughes.
Here.
John Deming is excused. Julie Lutke.
Here.
Linda Schellenberg. Lisa Haynes.
Here.
Mel Fuller.
Here.
Nancy Ross.
Here.
Rebecca Smith.
I'm here.
Sandy Kinney.
Sandy is here.
Sandy's here. Okay. And did I
Linda's here
see?
too.
I thought, yeah, maybe she didn't get to answer, but I'll just, thank
And
you.
Linda Schellenberg is here as well.
Got it. That's everybody. Thank you.
Do we have anybody that was not called? Do we have any guests? Wow, excellent turnout.
There's one person on a telephone. Who is that? That way I can just note it for my own.
That is Sandy Kinney.
That's Sandy. Okay. Sorry, Sandy. Okay. Do we have any announcements from anyone today?
Any announcements from the commission members?
It's a glorious February day. Okay.
Yes.
So everyone received the agenda and the minutes in their email this last week. So are there any additions or deletions to the agenda as written? No? Okay. If there's no changes, is there a motion to approve? I saw Alan and Sandy. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you very much, John. All right, and then we'll move on to the minutes from January 5th. I wasn't here, but Elise did a great job. I watched the meeting on YouTube a little bit, and everyone looks so amazing. Are there any changes we need to make to the January 5th minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve them as written?
I'll approve it.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Is there a second? Thank you, Alan. Okay, so I'm so sorry. I forgot we need to vote to approve the agenda. I didn't ask everybody to vote. So if we go back to the vote, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
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 Thank you. Anybody opposed? Okay. Any abstaining? You miss one meeting and all protocol just goes out the window. So we did have a second on approving the minutes. So if we could, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
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 Any abstain or any opposed to the minutes? Okay. Any abstaining? Okay, easy as that. And Marilyn, is there any public comment today?
I did not receive any public comment and I don't see any public with us, but in one more opportunity for the commissioners to make any announcements, that's fine.
I'm sorry, Marilyn, my computer froze for a second. You said no public comment?
No public comment.
Okay. All right, well, I suppose that leads us into your report.
Okay, well, this is going to be what? a lickety split meeting if we don't get some conversation going here, everybody. So I am very excited. Lots going on. I'm going to allow my staff to give their reports. I always seem to cut them a little short. And then I will wrap up at the end with a few additions. Feel free to unmute and ask questions during their presentations. But we'll just move right into our very first one. And I'll go ahead and ask Kanoy to give her report.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. I wanted to let you know that in the fitness center, things are moving right along. We're still doing our foot care two days a month, so 2 Mondays a month, and things are going well there. We're really excited that we had the opportunity to launch our second season of online fitness classes. So I've sent those out to several of our members to kind of get some feedback and see where we can improve. But I've gotten a lot of great reviews so far. We've also taken the opportunity to expand our Zoom healthy living lectures. And so stay tuned for those in February. So this month, we are going to be doing another round of our stress management in times of uncertainty. One of the great things about this time around is we're going to actually offer some accountability groups. So you have the opportunity to try out some of those stress management techniques and then have the ability each week to do a 20-minute check-in with my Dotran, our Zoom lecturer, but also our Flex and Fab and Zumba teacher. So I'm excited about that. We also have our Matters of the Heart little mini workshop going on this month as well. So we'll have, I'll be speaking on getting your heart rate and why it's important. We'll also have Sophie Sparling, one of our wonderful volunteers, who is also a dietitian, speaking on healthy foods for the heart. In March, we'll be doing Zoom lectures on gut health, also on breathing. In April, we have our Healthy Brain Conference that I know Marilyn will probably expand on. We'll be doing a series on eating vegetarian. That's also in April when we will release our season 3 of our fitness online classes. So we're kind of trying to do them quarterly to get people interested and enjoy them. We also have a few months more worth of different Zoom lectures that we'll be doing. So just trying to find ways that we can reach our folks and get the information out there. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Still doing our 5-minute fitness on Facebook. If you missed our accountability lecture, it's on YouTube right now. So you're welcome to check out our YouTube page and catch up on what you missed. But otherwise, all of our instructors are really excited to continue reaching out to our students and keeping them motivated and excited to come back to the center one day. Yeah.
Any questions for Kanoy? Okay, thank you, Kanoy. Next up, our very own lifelong learning coordinator, Bonnie Kadich.
Hello, everyone. Well, I am excited for spring too, Kanoy, and it's going to be wonderful you starting out with the heart health, and I just want to know that I want you all to know that we're going to be taking care of our hearts, but we're also going to be taking care of our minds. And with that, we're going to be doing some personal enrichment lifelong learning classes in the spring. Unfortunately, 2 of our instructors had to kind of take a break for lifelong learning. And that was Brianna, our computer instructor. She went on to get a full-time job, which, we are all needing to do and take care of our finances during COVID. And that was something she had to do. So for a while, she'll be working full-time and hopefully will return to us later in the fall of 2021. We also just found out that our acrylic art teacher, Bridget, will be taking a break for a while, but returning to do some big workshops. And again, these are for various reasons and personal reasons. They still love us, and they're keeping in contact with me, and I'm keeping in contact with them. But for spring, like I was saying, we kind of had to move on and kind of fill in some new Zoom times. And so I'm happy to announce that we'll be bringing in 4 instructors. One is returning, our history instructor, Doug Kroll. 2 are new to offering lifelong learning at the center, and that is Ed Pateros, who's going to do a Germany class, and a new instructor, a one-time instructor from the Sealy of the Valley Celtic organization is going to be offering a class. And then we have a returning instructor who is trying something a little different because she's super talented. So I just wanted to share with you a little bit about that. Like I was saying, we kind of think personal enrichment is a good thing for spring. So we're going to be doing classes on eating and cooking and baking, because that's what we are enjoying right now, right? And then we're also going to just fill our minds and our souls with the possibility of doing some traveling. And last week we did our first Let's Talk Travel class, and we went to Hawaii, and it was a lovely, lovely break. And I know that our instructor, or our guest, was very happy to do that. He was my uncle Elliot and my Aunt Fran, and they are telling me how wonderful that was for them, and they want to be able to do it again if we want to bring them back and visit some other islands in the Pacific and in Asia. So that was wonderful, and I got feedback from the students that attended that as well, and it was very heartwarming and inspiring for them as they took on this class. So we're moving on to Germany in April with Ed Pateros, and he's going to take us on his journey through Germany on the Rhine River, and his personal journey that he took with his wife. So that's coming up. And soon we will be doing our first Baking with Friends segment, and that is with Marilyn Daly and Heidi Miller. And the reason why that is going to be so special in February, here in the next couple weeks, is because we are also celebrating friendships, because again, that is what's taking us through this time. And we need to celebrate this month of February and realize how wonderful our friends are. So I encourage you all to attend this, because it is just going to be super delightful. And I think it's going to be neat that we're going to learn how to make sourdough bread. And I encourage you to invite your friends. So that's what I'm doing. I'm inviting my friends to this, and we're all just going to be together. That's coming up on Tuesday, February 16th. It's a Zoom meeting, and it is from 1 to 3 o'clock. And you can sign up and register for that here today. Suzanne will be entering that in our point of sale. So if you don't see it right away, know that it'll be in there, but sign on up for that wonderful presentation, and you will be able to be put in a drawing to win. I think this is the right word, right, Marilyn? A starter, a piece of a starter, or is it called a starter?
Your sourdough starter.
Okay.
And that sourdough starter began in 1988, and it's been going since 1988. And we are going to give you, one person's going to win that starter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And then continuing on with the Baking with Friends, we are going to be doing a soda bread baking class with the Kaylee of the Valley Celtic group. on March 12th. So that's a Friday. And again, you're going to learn how to do a very quick bread, very different than the sourdough bread. After that, we are going to be breaking into a new arts and craft class in April and May. It's a very economical class to start with. And it's using a polymer clay. It's a medium that you can purchase online through Michael's and Joann's and get shipped to your home for under $3. And with that, we're going to have 2 sessions a month with a new instructor for this class, and her name is, slips my
Lynn.
mind, Lynn Harris. She taught baking classes, bread baking classes at the center, and she's super talented, and she's going to do some polymer clay classes. You can make earrings and jewelry and all sorts of cute things to put on to your frames, or they're doing so many new things with polymer clay. Just look it up and check it out, because she's going to take us through some pretty neat classes with that. And then in May, we are going to be with our history instructor, Doug Kroll, and he's going to revisit his Oregon Lighthouse classes, because he found several other lighthouses in Oregon. So he's bringing that class back and taking us out of our homes. And then he's going to share another class that he's put together. He hasn't put a title on it yet, so this is kind of rough, but it pertains to United States ships, our military ships, in the course of history, but they're all named after Oregon areas. I didn't know there was one called the McMinnville, but all US ships, and he's going to bring us some history about that in May. So we're continuing on with our Zoom chats. Those are alive and well, and that includes our Wednesday writers group and our pine needle class on Monday. And gosh, that's about it for spring, and looking forward to summer and maybe being able to do some pop-ups outside. So yes, Alan.
So I think the travelogue idea is something that you can really develop. I always used to enjoy seeing pictures or slides from my friends' trips.
Right.
And I think you can really make that into something regular, that there's so many of us that at least have trips we've gone on, if not going. And this is Black History Month. We don't have enough, I don't think, knowledge about the people who contribute in our lives. And of course, Blacks are one, but also other nationalities that have contributed, or people that have come into the country. And if that kind of series could be developed, I don't think it would be just one person, but somebody who does some research on different scientists or social people or people that contribute. I always enjoy that in whatever, 60 Minutes, when they do little segments on a person who's done something we never heard of, and so proud. So if you could think about that in the future, I'm not sure how you can get all the people to do it, but a series like that would be interesting to me.
Mhm.
And
I agree.
It's a really good point, Alan. When we were in our old, we had a group called Armchair Travelers, and we'd get like 40 people there. And that's all they did was share past trips or travel logs, and it was huge. People loved it. And then on the other, it's kind of that concept of getting to know one another. If there's some way of building on, every time we get together, there's a host and they have a topic where we're getting to understand and getting to know one another from different backgrounds. And I think that would be I kind of like the idea of that. I like the idea of getting to know each other better, and hopefully being able to recruit a variety of people, that have a story to tell or something they can share with one another. So really good points. Anything else of Bonnie?
Bonnie, are you going to be, are all of your Zoom lectures going to be recorded and people can view them?
Yes, I would like to record them. I wish I had remembered to ask everybody if it was okay to record on the Hawaii one, and I didn't remember, so I didn't feel comfortable recording that one. So that is something I have to just remember to build in when we do these Zooms, is that it would be great to record them. Yeah. Which I do want to thank you, that also brought up that we do have acrylic art recordings. So even though Bridget is not with us right now, starting this month, you can purchase one of her class recordings. And I guess I'm a little partial to how wonderful they are, but I'm not kidding. They just fill my day watching the class come together and learn. They're students, but they've become friends. And just to see Bridget take them through a very difficult painting and what they come out with is worth it to just watch. But I guarantee you will learn how to paint. You will learn how to paint something that you feel that you can put up or give to somebody. So those are $14. And there's various topics. There's Christmas, poinsettia class. There's a floral, there's a landscape. This is a good one, you guys. There's a pet portrait painting. So if you wanted to even try and paint your kitty or your dog, she can take you through this in a class. So those are available soon. Staff is working on that, but thank you for bringing that up, because you can purchase those recordings that we've made. So.
Okay, well, very good. Anybody else for Bonnie? If not, I'm going to move to Wendy Kilgore.
Hi. Bonnie, that sounds like fun. I can't wait to see that. So it looks like we have moved from the weekly food box program and have moved it now to the food bank. So we started that on January 21st, and we're partnering now with Marion Polk Food Share. So I started out with about 125, I think, and it's grown to about 140 since that first delivery. And it's just going to continue to grow. It's been hard to reach out to everybody, but we've been having, I think one of Marilyn's, Marilyn, who did you have?
Our Western Oregon
Yes.
interns are helping
Yes,
us.
Yeah, she made the phone calls, and it's really been hard to get the phone calls returned back to us so that we can get everybody that needs to be on this program on it. So I'll be making another delivery today, and just as people call the center, I follow up with that. So this will be just one time a month. One of the challenges is going to be getting the form back that we need filled out. Each participant needs to fill out a form to qualify us for the program that Marilyn's applying for. So lots of phone calls about that. Each driver has been asked to pick up that form in February. So hopefully that works out, but I feel like I've talked to a lot of people. All the drivers know that they do need to pick that form up.
I can't connect to the Wi-Fi network. You might want to check the connection settings in the.
Okay. That's it on the food program. Does anybody have any questions about the food program before I move into respite?
Go ahead.
Okay. So respite for the month of January, I've continued to send the emails on Tuesday and Friday, and just, recipes, music videos, puzzles, stories, trivia, that kind of thing. Twice a month, the participants and the caregivers receive that. The program we're trying to move into, once the center opens up, and I'll try to explain this. So So we're wanting to reach out to adult foster homes. And so my goal is I'm preparing a flyer that I want to present to adult foster homes. And I would come into adult foster homes once a month and provide like a 1-hour activity for their group of people in their home. And this is kind of an outreach and then a marketing tool that we'll use to rebuild respite. So that's what I'm working on. I am going to one adult foster home today. I'm going to talk to her about that. Unfortunately, I don't have the flyer done yet, but I think I've talked to this woman enough that I think she'll be interested in it. So I'm looking forward to working in this area in the adult foster homes.
Wendy,
Very good.
Yeah.
funk you up.
Huh?
Funk you up.
Bunk me up. What now? What do you mean by that?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The video you put on and you responded to me. I told you I couldn't sit still.
Oh.
I thought that was a great idea.
Are you talking about the, it was the drum video I put up?
Oh,
Oh,
my
you put it up.
gosh.
Okay.
Yes. Wasn't that
Yeah.
fun?
Yeah,
I
we
thought it was
are going,
great.
we
I-
are gonna do it.
I think that's a great idea. I love that.
The video
I
he's-
can see me doing that.
Yes, the video he's referring to is the one that's gone viral on through TikTok, and it's big exercise balls sitting in laundry baskets with,
Yes.
and they're doing a drumming exercise program to funk you up. Yeah,
Yes.
great.
Fun. I'll
Yes.
invite you to that class, Alan.
That's
You
right.
can help. Maybe you can lead.
We did have a comment in the chat from Mel. Mel from Marion Polk Food Shares Meals on Wheels program, saying that they are loving, let me read it, appreciating, loving the referrals. We've loved getting the referrals for home delivered meals. So one of the elements of this new transitioning to a different kind of food delivery program was contacting every client and asking them, are you on Meals on Wheels? Do you have an Oregon Trail card? Do you need help ordering groceries online? And we've been able to make referrals to a variety of agencies and programs so that we can come up with long-term plans. Our food program was really to help people connect to food during COVID. But we've identified that there are folks that never had their food needs taken care of prior to COVID. And so we want to make sure that they're set up for long-term nutrition support. And that's what our interns are working on. And that's what our staff is working on as we build those relationships. So thank you, Mel. We're going to keep sending, we're going to keep sending them to you. Any comments, Mel, anything you want to say?
No, as you were talking, I was like, I'm going to go back and see how many referrals you've sent us, because I'm just curious. But it's a handful. It's great. I love it. One of the things, this is kind of off topic, but I got an email last night from some CERT members, the Community Readiness group, and they are looking to reach out to Meals on Wheels and the Center 50 Plus on how to help coordinate getting seniors their vaccines once they become eligible. So that's something, Marilyn, you and I can talk about privately, but I thought it was a great connection and a good service that they're wanting to do. Their concern is that, you have to download an app and then make an appointment and then go down to the fairgrounds. And I was confused throughout that process. And there's such a long distance you have to walk, and the parking, people are going to need help. So they're interested in helping that.
Great.
Just to go along with that, Mel, I was in another meeting last month, and some people in my other meeting had gone to the fairgrounds to get vaccinated. They were in line for over 2 hours.
Mhm.
And
I was in line for over 3 on my first round. The second round, it took 15 minutes, but yeah.
It is, I agree with you, it is confusing with the paperwork versus the app versus making the appointment time. So yeah, 100%. That would be a great great help to assist people with navigating that process.
Yeah. So you work with a lot of vulnerable adults as well at Salem Electric. Well, I'll include you in that conversation because they're looking for how to, I don't know if they're talking about giving rides or what they're talking about doing, but it's a whole big group of local people who want to help. So
Mel, if I can jump in on that real quick.
Yeah.
I know there are some independent living communities in other counties that have bused their residents to a vaccination site. The challenge, as you had mentioned, the time waiting in line, we felt was just too extensive for our residents to do that.
Mm-hmm.
As a company, Holiday Retirement's goal is to have vaccination clinics on site, which is completely dependent on the pharmacies having enough inventory.
Exactly.
Right.
And right now
Right.
they don't. So I wanted to talk because I actually attended a state meeting yesterday on this very topic. So I can give that kind of during my report. Yes, anybody have any other comments about Wendy's report or any of my staff's report? And I can jump into mine. So yesterday I was invited into a focus group with the state. They're doing the rollout, correspondence, the marketing. They're trying to figure out, the big issues with getting the shots into the right hands. And of course, first thing we talked about is technology. Everything is on this website. So I know they're looking at, one of the suggestions yesterday was a 1-800 number as opposed to an app and an online system. So we'll see what comes of that. The other is they, connecting to key partners in the community, senior centers, the places where people traditionally got their flu shots. And so trying to help with that process. But bottom line is there's still going to be people that need help with making an appointment. And then there's still going to be people that need transportation. And so I know that at this discussion yesterday, they were coming up with some ideas, and I'm hoping we will hear about them in the next, within the next 3 days, because this all starts on Monday in terms of getting shots. One of the other things they said, though, is although the schedule says that seniors can start getting their shots on Monday, that does not necessarily mean the vaccines will be available. There's still a shortage. So you can get an appointment and then it turns out they don't have the vaccine. And so they're still working through how to handle that. There needs to be a little bit more education on, there's still misinformation or there's still just confusion on whether people should get it. And so we brought that up. We still get people saying, I'm not going to get it. And there's not really a place besides bullet points from OHA on the pros of getting it. And so maybe we could explore for the future rollout, some kind of class on the truth behind the vaccine. I don't know. But again, we go back to technology. And honestly, if you can get onto a Zoom meeting, then you probably can register for your own vaccine shot. If we're talking about people that often are missing all this information because they aren't connected to technology. So how are we going to reach them? And that's kind of what we are thinking about the WOW van, that we would actually offer to go out in the WOW van and register people for their shots. Just say come down to the center and register is ridiculous because now they have to come up with 2 routes, one to get to the center and one to get to the vaccine. So we're exploring how do we, if people truly can't register for a vaccine, we're going to go out there and help them register.
Ellen, we're thinking of doing something similar with our Meals on Wheels drivers too.
So were you on the meeting yesterday or anyone from your, they're going to be using Meals on Wheels folks. There was talk, so I know you're going to hear, they're going to be using the Meals on Wheels structure for several things. In terms of connecting people to the vaccine, educating, and then registering. So more to come on that. But bottom line is the vaccines, people are, there's just a lot of confusion. We get calls and they don't understand the bullet points of who qualifies. And because some of their friends qualified. So they're like, my friend got it, why don't I get it? And you have to read all the little fine points behind it. So it was a really interesting conversation. Again, a reminder to the state that putting it on a website is not going to reach our senior folks. And we have to figure out something different. Any comments about the vaccine, or I think more to come? Yeah, Mel put up, there was a lot of confusion with Meals on Wheels volunteers getting it too. Some were turned away and others got through without any problem. Exact same thing with our food box delivery folks. Some went right down, not a thing, didn't even get questioned. And then the others were sent away. So it was totally dependent upon who was at the front door, honestly. And yeah, good point, Mel. Anybody else? We all know that it's been confusing and overwhelming, and we all know that portion of it. Any other thoughts?
Just some part of my own experience, just even as a worker, even though I, walked in with letters of approval from Northwest to go in because of essential worker and all those things. So my initial process wasn't too bad, but going back, I was on the phone. I'm actually, I don't mind disclosing this. I'm going today for my second dose and I have a window that I got an appointment time in, but I was on the phone. I was on hold for 2 hours yesterday trying to get to the portal, because if you are not part of the Salem Health System, so people may want to be aware of this, that if you're not part of Salem Health and you're going to try to get your vaccine at the fairgrounds, they create this portal for you to get them into their system so they can bill your other insurance or what have you. But then when you go back in, if it's not already set up, I had to wait 2 hours on the phone in order to get help to get a backdoor access and sign on to my chart so that I can make an appointment for a date. And that may be the only time I'm ever going to use my chart, because I use a different health system. So I think just really, yeah, having people, as many opportunities as you have for people either to walk alongside people or to be warned of those long waits that can happen, or to offer some sort of computer support, like if you're, as people are trying to access that information, but also may be in need of things like donations of phone cards so people can sit on their phone for the hours that they need to sit through, or look at some other alternative supports that, I think people are used to getting. I don't want to say it's a terrible state of affairs, but people are used to having to wait a long time anymore to get services. But if we can provide those kind of supports to get the services to them, whether it be offering a landline or what have you, whatever it might be, or having someone call or sit with them or wait with them, party line, however, just so they know that to stick with the process and to know what they're asking.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. And the other thing about that they want you to fill out the form before you come, just so you're not, holding things up, but you have to print the form out from home. And, I have been surprised by how many people do not have printers, do not have internet access through this process. We kind of forget that the world, not everyone is plugged in. So, yeah.
Well, and that's a piece. I indeed printed my own and brought it in because I have the printer here at work, but the secondary process is the one that held up, just because even though I have all the computer access and savvy to connect to it, as a savvy person, it still took me 2 hours to get an appointment yesterday. So we may want to, I can go, since I'm going today, I might be able to offer or ask if there's other ways that people can connect to get an appointment before they leave after their first dose, instead of having to engage with the computer system. Or maybe we equip people with questions once they go in and register. So if they do happen to come by the paperwork, if we make it available, then we can say, are they able to ask before they leave the site? Can I schedule now for my second?
Right. That's why wouldn't we schedule their appointment before they leave?
Right. They were not offering that up when I went first time, but I didn't know how much of a hassle it'd be second time around. So I can certainly ask that today
that's a good question.
Because I think that would solve a lot of it, right? Because they do hand out the paperwork in the parking lot when you drive through. Oh, you have your paperwork? Great. If not, you're going in this lane. So then you sit and fill out your paperwork before they let you go in. And then you go in with your paperwork. But if you don't know to ask about your second dose and to see if there's an appointment, I don't know if they're able to do that on your behalf.
The other things in the chat, has there, I don't think there's been enough discussion of the effects of the vaccine and or the second shot, especially after the second shot. And have we done any extra talk? I think, let me reach out. John Deming is not on here, but I'm going to reach out to the Scheck Center and just ask, do you have a general COVID vaccine 101 talk, 20-minute overview and the pros and cons that we could offer, and also print out a bullet point talk education sheet. So let me put that down. Okay, great.
After I got my second shot on Friday, Saturday was gone. Nothing happened on Saturday. I was just the body aches and the fatigue. It went away by that night, but it was pretty intense. And I'm more able-bodied than some of the people we serve. So I'm just worried that, they might need some help or someone around to check in or some prep work because it was intense.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. I need to unmute. I got my second shot on Thursday, and Friday I was fine, but Friday night I was getting the aches and the chills and stuff like that. My wife got her shot on Friday, and much like Mel, Saturday was gone for her because she did not feel well most of the day. But other people here in my office, they're just complaining about a sore spot on their arm or something. So it does vary from person to person on those effects. But Mel's got a point that if it's older folks going in and they don't understand that, that could be a big deal for them.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Good points. And let me reach out, because I think one of the things that came out of yesterday's meeting is, they asked, where do seniors get their information? And of course, the pharmacist was at the very top, because that's one of the few people they're still seeing. Their doctors, of course, and then senior centers were at the top, and we are getting quite a few calls. And, frankly, we don't have the information. I just keep printing out the OHA's updates. But it would be nice if we had a plan of where we immediately asked, are you having trouble getting your vaccine appointment? And then we have an opportunity to assist. So we're on high alert on this. Couple of other things I just wanted to, we are working with our EOC to increase our in-person activities at the center. We're not talking groups. We're still talking one-on-one or small groups, such as maybe private usage of the lapidary, 2 people coming in and using the wood shop. We're just getting quite a few people that are calling on that. Same with the gym. I've asked Kanoy to do some investigating and research. What would it look like? What would it take to allow 2 or 3 people in the gym every hour? Could we afford it? Could we pencil it out? What would it look like? So we are looking at that. And we're moving towards planning for summer for classes of 6 to 10. And honestly, I know they might say we can have 20 by then, but I think we're going to stay in the 10-person number for quite a while, because I'm going to do social distancing for years, for at least a year. So look for that to come out in the future, but we are penciling out, can we afford to do one-on-one or small groups here at the center? Does it make it worthwhile? And will EOC, our Emergency Operations Center, allow it? So one of the things is we have to clean once an hour anyway, whether it's 2 people here or 5 people or 20 people. We have to clean once an hour and sign off on that. If that's the case, could we allow some programming to happen? We talked about this last month. United Way has asked us to bring the South Salem Village under our umbrella here at Center 50 Plus, with the hope that we are going to branch out and start building a village network in all over Salem, a variety, every neighborhood having one or a couple per neighborhood. We have made the transition. We have our first meeting with the village, South Salem Villages, on Monday. And we're going to be visiting about what's working, what's not working, what would be their priorities, why did they join the village, and just try to support what they've been doing, what they need in a better, we're just trying to make a smooth transition and then build on what they've established. I do have meetings with Catholic Community Services as well as Polk County Housing Authority and the Pioneer Village over there. We've identified a couple of locations where there is a grouping of seniors living in proximity that would benefit from a village network, and we're gonna pilot a couple of more. The hope is that we can offer the activities, programs, and services that Center 50 Plus already does, that we can connect to our patrons throughout Salem and encourage them to join a village, that we will build on our volunteer workforce and our community agency partners to create a peer-driven, neighbor-to-neighbor, senior-to-senior, and community volunteers to help seniors live independently in their home as long as they choose. So we are moving forward with that. In support of that, we've been running the Wellness on Wheels van. It's starting to pick up some traction. People are calling for it. Doctors' offices are referring to it. And my donor, is buying me another one. So we can have a Wellness on Wheels van available to visit and be a part of every village as we open them up. So we'll have 2 vans and a staff person to drive those vans within the next 45 days. Let's see, fun stuff coming up. We have St. Patrick's Day drive-through dinner. We have Matters of the Heart, which is our heart health conference coming up. We have a brain health conference in partnership with AARP, which will be nationally broadcast. So that'll be really great. And that's just to give you a few examples. We have a Mother's Day 10-person Mother's Day tea party with multiple seatings. And so we're just trying to do a lot of drive-through, a lot of pickup, just a lot of quick FaceTimes. And then for, kind of the outreach, we're just using the WOW van. We're dropping off crafts. I'm heading out to a woman's house today her mid-90s mother lives with her. She's bored to death, and they're willing to help connect her to Zoom, but they want arts and crafts. They need brain exercises, and they're just needing some support. And we're going to take out a bag of goodies to them and get them set up. And those are the kind of calls we're getting is the need for help in their homes. Couple of good things. We just renegotiated our Northwest Senior Disability Services contract through the Family Caregiver Program, and that was increased by $2,500 to support the outreach we do through the WOW van. We continue in partnership with Salem Health, United Way, P3 Care Partners, Northwest Senior Disability Services, Mountain West, and Home Instead. Those are all supporting the WOW van currently. And we don't see that changing for a long time. Matter of fact, the WOW van and the outreach is the new norm, and we're going to continue to build on that. Lots of things going on. The food delivery, I know Wendy touched on it. It was a fairly smooth transition from a weekly to a monthly, transitioning from we buy the groceries particularly for you to now we're going to take the donations that Marion Polk Food Share gets and the food that they're providing us, and we're going to distribute. We don't really always know what's coming. That process was fairly smooth, but a reminder to all of us, seniors don't answer their phone. They just don't answer their phone. And City of Salem phones are all pretty much blocked. And all of us working from home are using personal cells. And so those are often blocked. So they don't answer their phone. They don't have email. They're leery of people calling them and asking questions. And they don't like junk mail. So, and you're right, John, and almost none of them text. So communication is just a huge problem. At the same time that we're always talking to people, don't do business over the phone. Get everything in writing. I'm calling these people and saying, hey, do you want to get food? And I get this information. So it's mixed messages. It's a weird time, but I anticipate being back close to the 200 number as people are learning what's going on. They do read the newspaper, although the newspaper readership is way down, according to them, that they're moving most of their energy to an online platform, which is very frustrating. But they do read the newspaper, but I do know they watch TV. So if there's something we can get onto the TV, that's probably our best route. So a lot of things going on. We're just very excited about the outreach, about this expanded support from our community, finding our niche in how we're helping seniors. It's all really good movement, but it all just takes time and coordination, and that's where we are. Any questions about what we're doing? Feedback, anything on the villages, any thoughts?
Just
Well,
I love all the things that you're doing, and I think I'm so grateful that you have another WOW van coming, because that is, I think my sense is that COVID probably pushed that need, that the need's always been there, but now you're able to reallocate staff time and whomever, the resources to make that happen. But I see that being a need going forward. I think it's always been there.
The need has always been there. We've always said we needed more people to handhold through the system, to walk alongside and get face-to-face a friend to walk through stuff. But it's always been hard to find the money.
Right.
Everybody's pushing for efficiencies all the time. And, honestly, the WOW van is not the most efficient delivery model, but it works. One visit can actually help more than 4 or 5 phone calls. So if we think about it in those terms, it really is a more efficient. We can resolve a problem in a day that could take multiple phone calls and confusing conversations by just having that FaceTime. Yeah. And yes, we need a whole fleet of WOW vans. Wouldn't that be exciting? Everyone's driving a WOW van. So thank you everyone for letting me give that report. Last time we were together, I want to move into the last piece of my report. You received a letter. We had the manager from Paradise Island, or the owner, a representative from Paradise Island Park, come here to our group and shared concerns about the homeless, unsheltered living in Cascade Gateway Park, and basically wanted us to take a stance in terms of how the council is making decisions. We opted to write a letter instead, stating, please consider older adults as a vulnerable population, and when making decisions, consider what would be in the best well-being of their needs. And it goes along with our age-friendly initiative, which is, let's stop and consider an older adult as we form policy, make decisions, etc. So Sandy Kinney agreed to assist me on this, and she wrote this letter on your behalf. And I sent it, Suzanne Bishop sent it to you this morning. We wanted to keep it simple. We wanted to let's see. We wanted to keep it simple. We didn't want it to appear that we are weighing in on the homeless issue, because we are not in that position. We did have one typo. Bennett has 2 T's, so that's easily corrected. But did everyone receive that letter, and do we have any thoughts? Is this stating what we want them to just know for future decisions? Hey, don't forget seniors. In the whole idea of being a city for all ages, please remember seniors are a part of that. Sandy, do you want to speak to the letter at all? Okay. Let's see, I don't hear you. That's okay. There you go. Oh. So Sandy, we can't hear you. I think your phone is muted.
Tap your phone. If you can tap on your phone, Sandy.
That's all right, Sandy. If that's not possible, sometimes she's listening in on 2 devices. Anybody else have any feedback on the letter? Does it meet what we were thinking? Is it? Go ahead.
I have a comment. Just that because it was, it feels a little bit vague to me, because although it's worthy and it's a wonderful sentiment, I just wonder if some more context could be added to it, just to say, in light of the current concern over houseless residents of the city of Salem, and the impact that their plight has had on the community as you're making decisions. Please keep, older adults and differently abled adults in mind as you do this, in light of, the scope of work that you did with the City for All Ages work. So I just feel like the why behind it is a little bit missing. That it's a nice general sentiment, but I think it would have a little bit more punch if you say, in light of, this is why we're asking this at this time, because it just felt a little bit too general, because it's like, at what place should the city's mayor and city council apply this scope? And I think we were particularly being asked to apply the scope to the concerns regarding housing.
How can we punch it up? Because we want them to use the scope on every decision they make, whether it's housing developments or road or transportation. So that's
right. So I think I would just give some more specific examples. Say, I for one would need examples, because I wouldn't know where to go with this as a council person. And the why now. I think, our current because of our concerns about regarding housing, because of our concerns regarding transportation and these other areas that are impacting the people we serve. I don't know, that's where my head went when I first read it.
Very good point. Very good point.
So I agree with Julie, and I think it could be as simple as the very first sentence could either be lengthened or a second one added right there, because it just kind of stops with during this difficult time. We could say with this difficult time with homeless issues, comma, COVID issues, etc., and then go into as you address all of these different issues, we just want to make sure it applies to older adults who may be having difficulty with transportation and other things due to, current situations.
Okay.
I also think that if we want them to know, if we want them to keep seniors in mind and the impacts on them and the future decisions that they're going to make, then we need to show up when they make those decisions and voice that at the time, and not rely on them to remember the letter. I think the letter is a great introduction, but I think we need to remind them when these big issues do come up, hey, here's a good chance to keep in mind of the seniors and how they can do that, and help guide them with that decision instead of just expecting them to do it without, just one letter. It's a great letter.
I think that's a good point, Mel. Showing up is important. I also think we want them to direct staff, because they make a lot of the decisions that council doesn't even weigh in on. They need to, it should be a norm that when they have a focus group, that there's several slots for older adults, and that they think of that. Like when they do parks designs and things like that, seniors are not always invited. So that staff person needs to be directed that they should always be on that list. So let's, any other comments on the letter? Because I know that Sandy and I can continue to, we'll add some content to it. Do we have permission to put in the additional points and send on? Or do you want to see it again at next month's meeting?
I'd like to see it again personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put March. Okay. Any other suggestions, comments, feedback? Thank you very much, Sandy, for doing this for us. I don't know if everybody knows Sandy, Sandy's background, but she actually was a mayor. So just to let you know.
Thank you, Sandy.
I have a previous mayor on our advisory commission.
And she makes really,
yeah, and she makes great desserts, but she was also department director.
good cake. I'm just saying.
Yeah, huge experience, and I'm so thankful she's part of our organization. So thanks, Sandy. Any questions for me? I would want to thank all of you for allowing me to speak.
Marilyn, I had one question. Going back to the meeting that you had about the vaccines. I know this is like 20 minutes ago and I probably should have asked you, but is there any talk about requiring folks to get vaccinated before they can come to Center 50 Plus? Is that anywhere in the works?
That will not be. Our legal department has already weighed on that. That is civil rights and liberties and human rights. So it will never be. That will never be in our public building a requirement.
Okay, that's great to know. It's because that's definitely something that's going around, is how do you enforce getting people a vaccine, and where do your rights start and the organization's rights stop? So right. Just curious.
So as an employer, you can make that a requirement of your employees, and they can choose to work for you or not. But when you're talking about the general public, I'm quite certain Marilyn's right that you can't make it a requirement. Although you can require wearing a mask and washing your hands and that kind of stuff.
You know, I imagine, I suppose if we went to a place where the president or the governor set a rule, I don't know, I think it would be tied up in the courts, but in our circumstance, we are a union represented organization and we are not mandated to do vaccines, and our union represented folks are not mandated. Still personal choice. I think the unions would probably get a little involved in that in terms of the forced. But as a private business owner, I suppose you can, you know, require whatever drug-free environments or all sorts of different things. Don't work for me if you don't like the rules. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
Yeah, Alan?
Can I make a small report on homelessness?
You sure can.
So as many of you know, I volunteer for the warming centers, and First Presbyterian has been the most frequently used over the years. They had a maximum in previous years of 86, of which we filled many times. During COVID, they've reduced that to 30, and we never get close. When I drive around, I see lots and lots of tents, more and more tents. And my observation from both of them is seeing people is that women now are about a third, and I would say over 50 is probably 20%. And that's completely unscientific, just my observation, but I think they're growing is what I'm saying and becoming more visible. We just went to visit the new site at the fairgrounds yesterday, which was the first day to offer 100 tents under the pavilion protection. And they had 50 when we arrived there at 2 p.m. And so that's going well. I'm looking forward to the number of tents in the area being reduced. But to wrap that all up with our advisory commission is that don't think there's been a real good study on the impact of homelessness on seniors. And maybe we should try to find that study or encourage it to see how they might be different. The end.
Any comments for Alan?
Alan, I'm curious, there was that temporary warming shelter that was going to be put up right across from Center 50 Plus. Has that happened yet? Or are they still?
Yes, it is. It's functioning.
Okay.
Excuse me. There's two things. You said women's. The one directly across is not women specific.
No,
and,
I thought you did. It's a temporary warming shelter.
Yeah, that's the real key, is that is warming. So that means that it's only during the night. They call the others durations, and I'm sorry. They have the warming center, which is for freezing temperatures for evening only. The one across the street is a duration center, which means it's open up to 29 days for somebody, which would include the whole month of January. They're now putting in other people for the 28 days of February. And then the one in Fairgrounds is a 24-hour center. So there's different ones.
It is functioning across the street. Seems to be running fairly smoothly. However, we can't blame it on the shelter across the street, but in the last 30 days for sure, we have had a huge upswing of garbage. People do come over and do the walk through lunch pickup, and then they eat like in the bus shelter or on the property, and they just throw their lunch containers on the ground and their milk containers on the ground. And so we're working to educate on, please walk to the garbage can right here. And we've requested some help with garbage cans in the shelters, although they were there, they were broken off and stolen. But we are seeing an upswing in human waste and garbage on the property and on the property that's adjacent to us. So we're trying to figure out some solutions for that. Yes, Mel, I know the garbage cans are right there. That's why we're doing some educating. We actually may be saying some things like, we know you're eating the lunch because this is our container and we just gave it to you. We're watching you eat lunch here. If it's left here, you're probably not going to get your lunch tomorrow. We're working on some more aggressive comments because the garbage can is right there. So we'll work through that.
I will talk with the kitchen staff who hand out the meals and ask them to, you know, especially for the people who are walking up, you know, can you please, if you're going to eat this on site, please dispose of it in the garbage cans.
I have talked to Julia and Steve. They're fully aware and they're help. Okay. They are too thoughtful to it. We've been brainstorming and I think that we're all just going to keep saying that.
Yeah, I don't think we'll not give them food. You know, that if we find your container on the ground, we're not going to give you food the next day. I don't think we would take that route, but I do. Yeah, that's really frustrating.
It's frustrating because I have to be honest with you in terms of littering is a crime. And if I throw my can out my window, it can be what, $500 and up to 30 days in jail. So I think we need to be that in terms of in terms of our property, we need to be enforcing littering and we've got to figure it out. It would be different if I didn't have garbage cans. It would be completely different if there wasn't a garbage can on site.
The fact that the garbage cans are like 15 steps that way and they're not doing it is really frustrating.
Yeah. So it's a matter of just, I don't know exactly what to do, but it is very frustrating to think that free meal, that is a contribution that comes from the community, and so that they can have a healthy, nutritious meal. And to throw the garbage on the space where they get that free and nutritious meal is just, it's something that we have to address. Why is that okay? So we're working through that, and we're gonna try to tug on heartstrings and just say, please, but that hasn't been working. So
it's hard because it's not only, you know, a community effort to provide the meal, but to serve it too. I mean, they're volunteers that are. It's just.
Well, and frankly, we're not staffed right now. I don't have a staff that all they do is pick up garbage.
Neither do we.
Yeah. So it could be a week before it totally gets picked up.
Oh.
Especially if it starts coming down on a Thursday or a Friday and there's no staff on site. So
sorry, Marilyn.
I think that there's that whole side of this conversation that is what's creating the dynamic of not resolving it. Honestly, I think that this piece, the small ugly piece of it, is casting a shadow on real solutions.
Mm-hmm.
We're distracted by the garbage on the ground, and I think that's really that public seeing that.
Yeah.
It's difficult, and so we want to help resolve that so that the public isn't closed to helping and is open to solutions.
Yeah, I just had the idea, well, maybe we could attach a little note that says, you know, please, but you could, the best way you can say thank you for this meal is by throwing your container away. But then that note is just one more piece of trash, and then we'd find those all over the parking lot too. So.
I think what's at play here, and this is just, I've worked in social services a long time, and just thinking about, there's a few things at play here, but it just becomes, because it's at your doorstep, it's really evident, right? Is that being homeless is temporary, and everything about the food is temporary. It's a very temporary lifestyle. So people, everything is disposable in your entire life. And so part of the problem is that right now, due to COVID, you're not allowed to invite people in and eat with real silverware and a real plate and a real, right? You have to create more garbage. But the other thing too is, I just want to throw the idea out of the investment of engaging with that community and having them kind of self-regulate, say, hey, and I've heard that there's a culture among these groups, that they each have their own kind of governmental systems and all sorts of, you're only allowed to stay in this area if you abide by these rules. So I just wonder if there's something there that could be tapped into to say, hey, you're only allowed to eat here if you're going to throw your stuff in the garbage, or if we're going to offer to take turns picking up everybody's garbage. Because I think if we come in with our staff and start picking up everybody's garbage, it's not going to solve itself. We're just going to say, oh, it's okay to throw the garbage because somebody else will pick it up. So I just wonder if, just as there's conversations, hopefully, and engaging with these pockets in the community, to say, what investment would you like to make to be part of the solution? Because that's the only way it's going to change, is if there's some internal investment to make, to be engaged with that.
Marilyn, is there anything we can do for you to help with this?
Well, I think Mel and I in the kitchen are gonna have to powwow about this a little bit more, have a discussion of what we could do, what stance we could take together, what investment can happen. Neither one of us have staff here. I mean, we're all trying to be really thoughtful to COVID right now. And so figuring out, how to engage, how to have a little bit of accountability and participation in that program that I know they appreciate. So good points, though. I really do appreciate the comments and suggestions, and gives us some things to think through. But thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah. Okay, well, if there's no more questions for Marilyn, do we have any Friends fundraising updates?
The very next thing is the March St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. Thanks to Madrona Hills, we're going to be having corned beef and cabbage and mashed potatoes and mud pie, and people can drive through, pick up their St. Patrick's Day dinner and their bingo card. We have several facilities that have donated baskets, and those will be the prizes for the Zoom bingo that night. If people do not have Zoom, they can also call in through a conference call. So it's not just for people with technology. Most people have a phone.
We're also doing Valentine's.
Yes, not a fundraiser, but the Friends, Linda, why don't you share with what everyone's working on?
Well, there's a group of 5 of us that have been working on making Valentine cards for 800 people. And it is time consuming, but it's a lot of fun. And I think I've got a system down now where it's not going to take that long. And we're going to have those Valentines ready to deliver. So,
Smell, those are enough for Meals on Wheels as well. So we'll get those to the kitchen. Yeah. Thank you, Linda, for spearheading that.
Sounds so fun. Okay, are there any other comments before we are done with our meeting today? Oh, sorry, Mel left a comment, but it's okay. We forgive you, Mel. It's okay. Okay, well, if there's no other comments, questions, anything going on, should we move to adjourn? Thank you, Alan. Is there a second? Thank you, Sandy. Okay, all those in favor to adjourn? All right.
Aye.
Thank you. Anybody opposed? Good, because you'll have to stay here by yourself in the Zoom meeting. We're all leaving. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing everybody next month, March 2nd.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful
you.
month, and I hope to see you at the St. Patrick's Day
We'll see everyone soon.
through.
Bye.
Bye.
Marilyn, do you have any day or time available this week, or do you want to look at maybe next week?
I don't this week, but I do next week. Let's see. What day? Let me see if I can look at my calendar. I want to stop living it here.
Okay.
How do I do that? I want to. How do I get out of that? Let's see. What day were you thinking?
Honestly, any day but Wednesday.
Okay. How about Thursday of next week at like towards the end of my day, like 3-ish?
3 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Thursday at 3. Sounds good. You're just going to come here and I'll set us up in classroom. I'll temp check and we'll go into classroom A and spread out.
Okay, perfect.
All righty. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.